Hi, this is Denise Richards with my final presentation for Equity and Diversity. First, let's talk about race. Race is more than just your skin color, but it is belonging to a group or individuals with similar characteristics, culture, history, or ethnicity. Race is a hot-button topic in America with good reason. There are divisions between the races despite well-intentioned laws and efforts to be more united or inclusive. While much of racism exists primarily with lines drawn using skin color and ethnicity, there are factors of racism that tie closely to socioeconomic diversity and opportunity. I have learned that there are sensitivities and understanding of culture, background, and circumstance that I haven't been affected by or privy to, but nevertheless exist and need to be dealt with. Watching the video Raising Birdie really brought a new awareness to me of the harsh realities that some people face because of a history of racism that has caused a socioeconomic divide. I kept thinking, how can a person get out of a situation like that? I had great hopes that Junior, who showed a lot of tenacity, could make good decisions and have some breaks, but it didn't seem in the cards for him. The cycle of poverty caused by racial, educational, and monetary divides is almost impenetrable. As an educator, I hope to be able to treat students fairly and give them hope for the future despite challenging circumstances. Without a solid foundation of education to support them, students will never be able to create better lives. In my classroom, the theme will be, drop your labels at the door. Now let's talk a little bit about language. English language mastery is likely the most important factor in a good education in the United States. I can't imagine trying to go to school or live in a place where I didn't understand a word or the culture of the native speakers. The Statue of Liberty says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." However, the U.S. government doesn't always know how to make that work when the huddled masses arrive. Knowing multiple languages can be a wonderful benefit to students in the long run, but the language barrier is a very real issue for both students and teachers who lack the resources or ability to communicate effectively. While I don't know how to solve this issue, I do believe that each state needs to have resources set aside to help educators assist their students in English language mastery. In the film I Learn America, I was most touched by the story of Singh. He's the immigrant from Myanmar who, in his own words, is tired of learning different languages. His journey has already been long, and as a sophomore in high school at age 19, he has many more obstacles to overcome along his path. He is a lonely, quiet man who doesn't feel like he is special or interesting, but still puts one foot in front of the other each day to try to make a better life, not fully knowing what that even means. He lives in a tiny apartment with his uncle and misses his family, friends, and country terribly. He seems depressed, but he doesn't give up. And even when his school commute becomes 2 hours long, he doesn't give up. I was surprised when Singh got into a fight and openly admitted that he wanted to seek revenge. His teachers admit that he is normally calm but has an angry side. And how could you not after going through what he has been through? What 19-year-old wants to be in classes with younger teens? Who can blame this man for being angry after all that has been ripped from him? I learned from Singh that sometimes all you can do is make the best of your circumstances and never give up. I hope to have a classroom where there are resources available to teach children from all backgrounds, nationalities, and languages. However, knowing this is unlikely, I can only plan to learn all that I can in order to help each student on an individual level. Current laws are not as sympathetic to the plight of the immigrant as they could be, but we need to remember that we are a nation of immigrants and that all have a place, especially children who didn't choose the immigrant life. Moving on to intelligence. This cartoon is the perfect example of how different abilities translate or fail to translate in the classroom. Intelligence is not just one way of thinking. It is a variety of unique characteristics that give a broader perspective and varied understanding to each subject. By recognizing varied abilities as well as intellectual, emotional, and physical traits, we are able to appreciate what each individual brings to the table instead of only seeing what can't be done. Watching the video Intelligent Lives gives a very poignant view of what it's like to know and love someone with an intellectual disability and what it's like to be a person with an intellectual disability. Regardless of ability, all life has value and worth, and people of all abilities deserve to have opportunities and love. In my classroom, I hope to focus on abilities rather than disabilities and pray that I have help and resources that will enable me to meet the needs of all my students. Moving on to identity. This is a great illustration that shows the difference between equality and equity. Equity is giving everyone the same opportunity, while equality is just giving them the same tools. If we truly want to have equity, we will ensure some necessary adaptations are made for each individual's unique circumstances. Some of the main issues of equity and equality revolve around privilege, skin color, gender, and sexual orientation. Each of the affected groups has different needs, desired outcomes, and recognition efforts. We all look at one another with a dose of implicit bias, whether we want to or not. The key is to know that we have the bias and make conscious decisions to behave like a good human being. The most impactful activity of this section for me was reading How Poverty Taxes the Brain. I learned that when children have so much to worry about, including money issues, hunger, and homelessness, they will not perform as well in school, at work, or in life. The brain's bandwidth can only stretch so far, and the life or death issues take precedence in brain activity priority. In order to be an effective teacher, I hope to be able to identify and help find solutions to the bigger issues that students are facing, so that when they are in my classroom, they will be able to focus and learn. Restorative practices. Restorative practices are a more effectual way to engender student respect, improve behavior, and give responsibility than punitive practices. By helping the student to fix their problems and uncover real reasons for acting out, we can help the student focus on learning. I am a natural rule follower, but understand the concept that hurt people hurt people. Dealing with bad behavior with more bad behavior just keeps the cycle going. While reading our vignettes in this module, I was struck with another section of the book that described one teaching style as warm demander, someone who combines personal warmth with active demandingness. I feel that this is my teaching style, and I hope that it translates into a restorative classroom. The last thing I want as a teacher is to give or receive disrespect. I feel that by merely treating the symptoms of poor behavior, we are not dealing with the real root or the cause of the bad behavior. Doing so in a respectful, consistent way will hopefully restore not only a peaceful classroom, but will restore the child's dignity and ability to behave. In conclusion, if there were no teachers, all other professions would not exist. We have a big job. I hope to be a teacher that has compassion, energy, optimism, high standards, and high expectations for each of the unique students that I have in class. Thank you.